Okay, before I get to, the topic of today, I do have to do my low, my high, my act of kindness, as always. I guess my low is the fact that, I kind of found out something that it really has nothing to do with anything else. Just, for years I've talked about how I've had this crush on, this one particular girl, and I just heard now that she just recently got engaged, so yeah, I'm heartbroken. But as long as she's happy, I'm cool with it. Heartbroken, but cool with it. But let's get into my high and my act of kindness, because my high is I got to spend the evening with my folks. It was wonderful. And my act of kindness was it was several things. I actually helped hold the door for some people. I helped clean up stuff for my mom and dad. It was awesome. It was a great day. However, today is automatically going to be greater, because today is my brother's birthday. He turns 34 today. Happy hump day, everybody. And in honor of my brother, much like I did for my father, I will also be doing, some facts about my brother. But you know what? I want to make this special for him. So you know what? I'm not going to go one step beyond. I'm not going to go 2 steps beyond. I'll go 3 steps beyond and give you 13 thoroughly frivolous, though thoughtful things about my brother. You're probably wondering, well, why are you doing 13? Well, believe it or not, how about we start with number 13, both literally and figuratively? Because 13 is my brother's number. All the sports my brother played, basketball, soccer, lacrosse, all that, the number he wore the most was 13. It's pretty cool, huh? Yeah, already, I went meta with that one. So you're probably going, well, 13 is actually a notoriously very, unlucky number. Did he have lots of bad luck in his life? He had as much luck as anyone else has in life. He's a normal person just like you and me. That's all it is to it. Although, if you really want something that's a little not normal, how about we go to number 12? And that is the fact that, and by the way, if any of you went to Notre Dame High School, don't worry, this one's for you. My brother's no stranger to the song Happy Birthday. Because what wound up happening was his senior year at Notre Dame High School, because remember, he went to Notre Dame, I went to Horseheads. His senior year at Notre Dame, these kids were talking to each other. They're like, you know what, how about at the top of our lungs, we just sing the song Happy Birthday to the next person who walks in. And that person just happened to be my brother. And I kid you not, for an entire year, whenever my brother walked into the cafeteria for lunch, everyone would sing Happy Birthday at the top of their lungs, having lots of fun. When it finally got to April 13th, which is today, my brother's birthday, everybody went nuts. Like, they had a big party night, everything, man. It was unbelievable. You're probably wondering, how do I know this? Oh, because my brother would talk about it every day. Every single day. Oh, don't worry. It's not the worst, most embarrassing thing involving his birthday that I know of. That's going to be coming in a minute. For now, how about I take things even more meta and talk about his favorite color, which I happen to be dressed as right now. My brother's favorite color is actually blue. Growing up, if you have like games like Sorry and Candyland, where they have those assorted, color pieces, color game pieces, my brother would always pick blue. And he just stuck with it. And watching shows like, Double Dare or Global Guts. Remember that was on Nickelodeon? He always rooted for Red, wasn't blue. And needless to say, watching Legends of the Hidden Temple, he was a Blue Barracudas fan. I was a Green Monkeys fan myself. Go Green Monkeys. Anyway, hey, green was my favorite color. Which, technically, green is blue with some yellow in it, so I guess my brother and I really weren't that far off from each other, huh? Now, I mentioned earlier that Hal being sung happy birthday to for the course of an entire school year, his senior year, that might sound embarrassing. Not this, though. Because one year, when it was my brother's birthday, he actually got a limo ride. That's a thing. You get like a limo ride, have a limo pick up a bunch of your friends, and you just and obviously this is like a kids' party, so there's like music playing, bubbles blowing. Obviously they're kids, so have like soda and whatever, right? Here's the thing. Somewhere in the midst of all that, maybe my brother, maybe the bubbles made him sick, maybe the music didn't sound right to him or whatever. But my brother got motion sickness and he threw up all over himself on his own birthday. And if you think that's embarrassing, it gets worse. Oh, not just for him, for me too. See, I actually wasn't allowed to be in the limousine, but I could come along as long as, I was in the car with my mom. Because, my mom had to make sure everything was fine, right? I mean, her kid's in the limousine, she's got to make sure everything's okay, right? So after my brother throws up on himself, naturally he needed a clean set of clothes. That's right. Oh, hold on. I have the list in front of me. I just want to make sure I have it in front of me before it goes dark or whatever. So basically, my brother is now wearing my clothes. Meanwhile, my mom has to drive home as quickly as possible because I am butt naked inside of her car with a blanket covered over me so no one sees through the window. And we have to rush home to get me a new set of clothes. Hey, what can I say? I want to be really giving for my brother's birthday. Okay. You're probably thinking, your brother must be really lucky to have you, right? Oh, he is. But remember I said how his, number was 13? And I mentioned how if he had any bad luck in his life? I really meant to say no, because this is number 9. Because I did lucky, his number, happy birthday song, his favorite color, his most embarrassing birthday, and now I'm on number 9, which is the luckiest moment of his entire life. In fact, if I was my brother, and if after this moment I said I just used all the luck I'll ever have in my entire life, it would be very accurate. Because when my brother was in, I forget what year it was, but this was in elementary school, he had taken part in a spelling bee that was going on, I believe, at the Arnott Mall. And the way a spelling bee works is, the announcer says, spell so-and-so, and you have 30 seconds to spell your word. And, after you say the word, after spelling it, the announcer says, correct, and, move on, or incorrect, next please. So it's my brother's turn, and he has to spell the word frugal. He spells it wrong, knowing he spelled it wrong, feeling horrible he spelled it wrong. And in an instant, the announcer says into the microphone, "I'm sorry, could you please repeat that?" My brother got himself a second chance being able to spell the word frugal correctly. He spells it correctly, and he gets to move on. Again, That's easily the luckiest thing that's ever happened to him. Well, second luckiest thing that's ever happened to him. I'll get to that later. But needless to say, I know how to spell frugal. F-R-U-G-A-L. Anyway. Enough of the funny stuff. How about I get into some more thoughtful stuff? How about when he applied for college, his first school of choice, which was originally Yale. Yeah, when my brother was graduating high school, his first college of choice was to apply for Yale. I mean, my brother was much more into his academics than I was, so I had no chance of ever really getting into any of those places like that. I mean, my brother must have applied for like 6 Ivy League schools, including Harvard. Well, here's the thing. He applied for Harvard just like anyone else does. Like, you apply for Harvard either because you really have the credentials to get in, or you do it knowing you're not going to get in, but you're like, what the heck, I'll give it a try. And my brother was easily the latter. But he definitely had the credentials to get into Yale. And like, my mom had prepared like the entire house for the representative from Yale to come and interview him. Like, she made fresh baked chocolate chip cookies, so the house smelled like chocolate chip cookies. It was unbelievable. So, needless to say, my brother didn't get into Yale, but he wound up going to Boston College. That's actually going to be very relevant in a few minutes. Let's see, so that was 7. This is, no. Lucky number, happy birthday song, favorite color, most embarrassing birthday, luckiest moment ever, first school of choice. Okay, now I'm on number 7, right? This is number 7. So number 7 is his favorite band growing up. And my brother and I are definitely our father's kids, because the first bands that my brother and I ever said that we actively liked were the Beatles. What can I say? The Beatles are awesome. It's the Beatles. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, Ringo Starr. They are the Beatles. If you are a fan of music, they're required hearing at least once in your lifetime. John and George have, passed on, so you can't really see them. Then you can see Paul in concert and Ringo in concert, but you can at least hear. There's lots of different avenues to hear Beatles music. Just look a song up on YouTube. It's gonna be there. And you know what? Speaking of music, how about I go on to number 6, which is that my brother is a bit of a music man himself, as he actually played not 1 but 2 instruments growing up. The first that he easily played the most often was the piano. My brother absolutely hated playing the piano, but he played it constantly. He hated it because, he didn't really want to do it. In fact, like, my mom and dad still have that, piano in their house. My brother never wants to see or play it ever again. So, I've dabbled in the piano a little bit myself. But you guys know me, I'm more of a vocals guy. Choir and, solo art, stuff like that. But my brother definitely played instruments, and one of them was the piano. The other instrument he played was the trumpet. I'll never forget this. It was really early in the morning. Like, we had to get ready for school. I think I might have been in 2nd grade, maybe? Or maybe 1st grade. And I wake up hearing this weird sound. And in a process in which I can only describe as somehow, my father's old trumpet, my father also played trumpet in high school, found its way into my brother's closet, and my brother discovered it, and he just started playing around with it for a little bit. He had no idea how to play it, so he just like funny sounds or whatever. So not really what you'd want to hear at 6 o'clock in the morning. But, if it wasn't for that, he wouldn't have been able to play trumpet. Needless to say, he hasn't played trumpet either. Okay, that's enough of that's enough frivolous stuff. How about we actually get into some more thoughtful moments, starting with number 5. When I was growing up, we went to Hershey Park. I went on my first roller coaster, and I cried. And for years and years, I would avoid riding roller coasters until it was the summer after I had finished 3rd grade. My cousin's parents invited my brother and I to go camping up at Darien Lake. And this is back when it was Six Flags Darien Lake. And this had been just soon after they opened the roller coaster Superman Ride of Steel. Now it's just known as the Ride of Steel. My brother convinced me and pumped me up and psyched me up to get on that roller coaster. That was the first roller coaster I ever went on after what happened at Hershey Park. And he helped me get over my fear of roller coasters. So, thank you to my brother for helping me get over that fear of roller coasters. I love roller coasters now. I haven't been to a theme park in forever, but if I have an opportunity to ride a roller coaster, I'm riding a roller coaster. Okay, no question about that. In fact, not only did my brother help me get over my fear of roller coasters, but he was actually quintessential in helping me graduate college. I said this before, I'll say it again. When I was in college, I was not a very good student. Like, not at all. And in order to fulfill my major, I had to take chemistry, like over the course of the summer, to fulfill my chemistry requirement for my major, which was health sciences. And my brother had actually helped me study and, get everything right. His best friend, and as well as the guy who was his best man at his wedding, he was also taking the same chemistry class I was. So, he had a reason to help, but he helped me. And the thing that stuck with me the most is because we had some fights. I was a horrible student. I didn't like studying at all whatsoever. But he legit got me because I was wearing this shirt that sadly I don't have anymore, but I wish I did. It was a yellow Nike shirt that said 100% possible. And for some reason, that mentality has stuck with me forever. Think of it this way. It was 100% possible for me to run 4 marathons. It was 100% possible for me to ride 4 100-mile bike rides for charity. It was 100% possible for me to start making videos and do it every single day. So there you go. Number 3, my brother is easily the greatest chauffeur ever. Obviously he's older than I am, so, he got his driver's license first, so, he had more independence and, someone's driving by on the outside. Anyway, he got his independence, he got a driver's license, and, sometimes he'd have to take me some places, but sometimes he did it because he wanted to. And I can think of 2 instances where being a chauffeur, well, technically 3 if you include the times he drove me we went to Darien Lake together. Once with just the 2 of us, and the other with his then girlfriend, but I'll be getting into that momentarily. The first one that I'll talk about here now is after I graduated from Trinity Pauling. The 3 people who saw me graduate there were my mother, my father, and of course my brother. And, I had a lot of stuff to take home. I was living in a dorm for a year, take home. And we had 2 cars. So, we both, 4 people, 2 people per car. Very simple. maybe it was just because of how things worked out, or maybe it was just because, like, deep down I really wanted this. But my brother had driven me home from Trinity Palmy after I had graduated, and we were driving all the way to Cuca Lake because it was Memorial Day weekend, so we opened up the cottage then too. And it just felt right. It felt right to have him be the one to drive me there. And I haven't complained about it because, it was just great. We talked. I was playing Pokemon Platinum in the car. It was awesome. Now, the second most thoughtful thing about my brother is, believe it or not, involving two questions. Now, I had mentioned that my brother's first college was Yale. But he didn't get into Yale, he goes to Boston College. And when he was at Boston College, he wound up meeting this one very nice girl. And, they hung out for a little bit and they became friends. And they went to a Third Eye Blind concert. And it was there that my brother had asked this girl to be his girlfriend, to which she said yes. And for 7 years, they had actually dated. And they had done pretty much anything. They've been to weddings together. They've been around the world together. At least around Europe or whatever. But the point is, they had done it all together. So, it was when my brother had taken her to Europe, where he asked the second most important question in his entire life. He asked this girl to marry her on top of the Eiffel Tower in Paris, France. Hey, listen, I said my brother was lucky. Those are the two most important questions I think he's ever asked. And he got the answer that he wanted on both of them. So, there you go. And you're thinking, all that sounds really nice. But actually, before I continue this, if my brother goes to Yale, he doesn't get married. He doesn't meet this girl, So you're probably wondering, those are all really cool. That's 12 really cool things about your brother. So what's the last one? Well, I actually had to think about this for a little bit, because I've always wanted to share this story. It was when I had turned 23. It was a Saturday. Technically my birthday was a Friday, but we celebrated on Saturday. And my family and I had celebrated my birthday by going to Libs. Hey, listen, I've said many times, Libs has had a profound impact on my life, and this is yet another example of why that is. On our way home from Libs, a thought occurred to me, and I pondered it for a little bit. My mother and my father, but really my mother. It's probably going to make it seem like I'm giving my father the short end of the stick here, but I swear I'm not. My parents had been there for me for 23 birthdays. And it occurred to me that theoretically, the worst birthday I would probably ever have would be the first birthday in which my parents would pass away. And, they'd be gone. They wouldn't be able to celebrate it. And I actually kind of started well up. But, not to the point I'm bawling or crying, but, I kept it in. And my brother was actually driving me home from Libs that night because he was visiting. So he drove me home. We took several cars, obviously. Fast forward to autumn of 2017. Now, my brother and I, this is around the time I was going through some really serious stuff. And my brother and I were having a conversation. And for the life of me, I barely remember anything about that conversation. But one thing stuck with me most of all. And that's when my brother said, for the next 30 years, you're stuck with, me and mom, and you're stuck with me and mom and dad. And when mom and dad are gone, we're going to have each other. We'll still have each other. To which I had jokingly said, we can barely stand each other now. Are you really sure we're going to be able to stand each other at that age? To me, that is the greatest thing he's ever said. Because it's true. I have been alive for 32 years. And I am forever blessed that both my mother and my father have been there for it all so far. I say so far because, again, that day will come one day. I know it's going to be. Listen, I know that day is going to come for all of us. And believe me, I'm sad thinking about it. But it's just a part of life. It sucks, but that's just how it is. And when my parents are gone, trust me, I'm going to feel absolutely horrible. I'll do everything I can to hold it in. And I could probably hold it in. But anyone who's able to see through me anyone's going to be able to see through me that I'm going to feel like crap when that happens. When that happens, though, I'm not going to be the only one. Because I still have my brother who loves me a lot and is always going to be there for me, and vice versa. So, you know what? There will come a day where my brother and I are all we got. I mean, my brother has, his wife and his 3 beautiful nephews, or three beautiful children, my nephews. And that's the thing. I got to see my brother accomplish so much. I got to see him graduate college from BC, from Boston College. He just got his master's recently. I forget what college in Philadelphia it was. But, he got his master's. I saw him get engaged, get married, start a family. He made me an uncle. He legit made me an uncle. That is awesome. But then again, my brother's always been cool like that. I mean, there are times where, he's going out with his friends and he'd ask me to come along. He didn't have to, but he did. Because he is that cool. There is, and believe me, we've had our share of agreements and disagreements. We've had our highs and lows. We have even been through cases where there were long periods of time we didn't even speak to each other. In fact, full disclosure, that almost happened when my twin nephews were born. Yet and still, there is not a single word in the English language that could possibly describe how much I love my brother. Nor is there a word in the English language that could describe how blessed, no, not blessed, privileged. I'm privileged to have my brother in my life. And I can't describe enough how thankful I am he's a part of it. I've been alive for 32 years. He was there for them all. Every single one of them. Sadly, I've only been around for, 32 of his now 34 years. But you know what? That's actually more than most. I'll take that. And when that day comes, when sadly our mom and dad will be gone, we are only going to have each other. We will be all we got. And I can't say for certain if my brother feels this way. But if you're asking me, yeah, we're going to be all we got. But you know what? I think that's going to be all we need. So, to my brother, happy birthday. I am beyond humbled that I have you as a brother in my life. I am forever hopeful that you have a wonderful birthday today. And I hope you have I hope you're doing well with your family too. I mean, I just saw you the other day, so it's not like, not much is going to change, but you know what I mean, if you're ever watching this. And for those of you, some people actually have a birthday today, so if it's your birthday, honestly, this is meant to be an honorable mention, but again, my brother has the same birthday as my favorite voiceover actor, Colin Clinkenbeard, best known as Urza on Fairy Tail and Luffy on One Piece. So you know what? That's another. Well, put that as number 14, I guess, or an honorable mention, whatever. But my brother's there. He was there for me for all 32 years. He was there for all the days of my life. Then, he's there for me now. And while I can't accurately predict who's sadly going to go first, we're stuck with each other. I wouldn't have that any other way. I love you, bro.